Hello, everybody. Here, this is Jenny Ciccone and my colleague in England, Rosalind Smith. We are here today for our next Soulful Women's Journey video series topic. Hi, Rosalind.
Hi, Jenny.
Yeah, I know the weather there starts to get a bit cold, huh?
And
Yes.
wet.
Oh, and wet, yeah. So here we are still in summertime, and yeah. Anyway, thanks again to the high tech to bring us together, making it possible. So today's topic is about how to identify the patterns that got us stuck. So Rosalind, I know we went through a lot working on these kind of pattern thing, for quite a while. And we know from our experiences working with our clients, about the whole thing. So I'd like you to share with me a little bit, first of this concept. What is pattern? This concept we are talking about, because some people might not realize or understand.
Yeah, sure. And to be honest, people don't realize because it's just, it's just part of their life. But speaking, giving an example of myself, I think that's the easiest way to explain it, is I used to have such a pushing energy, and I continually did that. I continually pushed with whether it was something to do with work or whatever it was, and I would drive myself mad if I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. And I think it's good to set goals, and it's good to, if you're a success-driven person and whatever that success means to you. But for me, it was to my own detriment, where I would reach burnout, and I wouldn't, it actually took me out of the way of what I really wanted and what I really believed in, because I just thought I should. And this was a pattern that I repeated time and time again. And it's a cycle that you get yourself into. And I knew it was there. I just didn't know how to get out of it. But not only didn't know how to get out of it, I actually didn't think I could, because I thought it was just who I was and just learning to control it a little bit and I'll be fine. But I always went back to it again, and I always did the same thing. And of course, I have clients that come in. Now, this could be a pattern that they run in their relationships. So it could be maybe a lady, for example, that says, well, that's just my luck to choose another man like that. Or, or vice versa, a gentleman that could say that about a lady, or I always attract these sort of people in my life, I always attract these situations. And when you listen to that, it's negative, really. And all it is belief patterns that we have. It doesn't mean that we have to keep them, but it got me to the point personally that I was on my knees with it, because I didn't know any other way and didn't know how to get out of it. It was just what I did. And that what I did, and that striving and that pushing and that frustration, and that caused a lot of tears, a lot of heartache, a lot of anger, bitterness, resentfulness, because I then started to think there was something wrong with me.
Yeah.
And I became the victim.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So that's to me is the best way of describing what this pattern is a cycle of something that you repeatedly do.
Yes.
Time and time again. But instead of noticing, identifying it as a pattern, the negative language that you tell yourself is the victim voice.
Yes.
Why me? or like I say, well, I always attract these sort of people. It's the story of my life. I've heard myself say that. It's the story of my life.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. I just feel like you covered in so many ways already. So I like to add something, not repeating part of what you said. Pattern, yeah, really, myself also experiencing in many years. So what I would like to share is something that keeps triggering you, no matter it's a person or the similar type of people, or some occasions, or even some weather or time, all these kind of detailed thing. For example, I work with some people, they have their physical symptoms, headaches or so. They would say it always happens in rainy, cloudy, depressed days in the afternoons or something like that. Or some people are struggling with their addiction to food, sugar, alcohol, whatever. They would say it always happens when it's in the afternoon, like around 4 to 5 o'clock or so. I just started to feel my whole energy drained or whatever. So that kind of thing, the trigger points, and people, of course, you already mentioned, the relationship triggers or the emotional triggers. When you sit there, in front of the desk, started to work on something, you actually don't feel good about what you need to do. And those little noises in your head start to talk to you. So instead of put your whole energy connecting to what you do, you actually, allow yourself unconsciously listening to those busy noises. And the thing is, those patterns, those noises, feelings, when you get like activated or clicked off into those zones, your logical mind doesn't really work. So for me, my pattern before, when I was younger, it was always like anger that I cannot be myself. I cannot be myself. But if you ask me who your true self really is, I didn't know. I cannot tell you. I just feel like anger and a bitterness. I cannot be myself, blah, blah, blah. So we didn't know. All of us have somewhat these kind of patterns. When we feel bad about that, when we feel anger, we cannot get out, and this bitterness, frustration, whatever, disappointment, unfulfillment come up, we don't know, actually they are blocking us to really have what we want. What we want is on the other side, not this pattern. We want to feel like thrived, alive, and we can freely express ourselves like we both are doing here, and we step out to do the work to help others, right? So that's what we want to have, and it's especially our soul's purpose. We go through the pains. Actually, those pains are our helpers, are not just the patterns, but they are patterns, right? But they come here, we experience, confront those patterns to help us to eventually come out to the other side. So, but
True.
anyway, those are the patterns.
Yeah, and I see it as a cleansing process. It's
Yes.
like, for example, that a lot of my work is with weight loss clients. And you was exactly right when you said, that they go through a cycle of eating something, feeling guilty. I'll
Yes.
start again Monday. Then they'll
Yes.
get on that treadmill of guilt. And
Yep.
it's all of it. And that is, again, a pattern and a cycle.
Yeah.
But when we start the work, it's about working with that unconscious part of your mind, or
Yes.
subconscious, whichever way we want to view it. It's interchangeable. And that will always, always ride over you consciously.
Yes.
It's the
Yes.
powerhouse of a mind, and we know that. This is where
Yes.
the beliefs are set in.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
where, from
Yeah.
a very young age, even in the womb, or even before, you know, if we believe in past life, reincarnation, we bring that through with us. And there we are we continually run those patterns or those cycles, because
Yes.
the universe is kindly showing us as well
Yes.
what it
Yes.
is repeatedly that
Yes.
it is that you agreed you wanted to let go of this time.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And when you're not acknowledging it, of course, you're going to get that pattern again, and you'll keep on going through that cycle. But
Yes.
it's all locked in
Yes.
unconsciously. And this
Yes.
is why people, you know, think that, well, I don't know what's caused it. Well, you don't really need to know that, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because it's an unconscious act, and people believe that they just have to keep it because that's
Yeah.
just the way that I am. But then the self-worth goes down.
Yes, yes. You actually started, our next point we want to discuss today. It's really like, how were those patterns created? And you mentioned some of them already, we some kind of, like soul's intention or purpose, we brought it when we were born or so, but mostly, it all goes back. They all go back to the childhood time, some early events we went through, and the parents' patterns, actually their emotional pattern, their belief system, and not only parents, by generations. So our whole tribe, the culture. So I can so relate to the pattern you mentioned, push against, striving for success, pursuing external success. That's who I, you know, grown up with. So all these belief, you have to strive, work hard for external success, that kind of thing. So they were there, and when we actually keep feeling it, we are trapped. So our head will not help us because we try to figure things out. And we go really into it when we cannot find the solutions, we go crazy. So
Yeah,
because, we feel so stuck. So that's how they created in the past. So even though we are experiencing some of these patterns, we still are triggered or so, but this is not something from now, the present moment, even not this person. So I used to feel like that's my way to help everybody, take care of everybody, giving my energy to love them, right? So I keep giving, subconsciously, I believe that they should treat me back the same way, to really care about my feelings, about this and that, but they didn't. And then I felt resentful. How come? Because I kept giving, but not receiving the love, the support back. I just feel like unsupported, unheard, not understood of my feelings or whatever. I just kept trapping there, being trapped there. And then I finally realized that when you keep feeling unsupported, you will keep feeling unsupported. Is that funny? Because
absolutely.
we are in that feeling and a vibrational zone, and that kind of feelings, that patterns really are the resistance for us to get out to the other side of this pattern, to have the freedom to finally feel supported. So that's how they were created. But the thing is, when we really, need to come out, we actually, the solutions are not really go, get rid of this, figure it out. We actually, it's all about the alignment, honor also. That will be our next topic, in our next video series. But today we just discuss a little bit of the basic concept about patterns, how they create it. We don't even need to figure out that much, that clearly. We only need to really to, you know, honor, to listen, and start to be aligned. Then changes will start. But now we will, you know, move to the next point we want to talk about today. Why some people just don't change.
I think jumping on the back of what you've just said,
Yes.
it's firstly is recognizing it. And it, like you said, it could be in your cellular memories, it could be, you know, and that's recognizing it, you're halfway there. But there are people that, you know, are probably never going to heal. And that's because they recognize it, but then there's some people it doesn't bother them that much. They're more accepting of, well, this is who I am. So they don't believe that they can change.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's their fate. And it is
right.
what it is. They have to live with it, huh?
Yeah. And even if they signed up, you know, to deal with it this time, if they feel that, you know, yes, it's affected me, but some people, I've heard them say, oh, I'm too old now to do anything about it. That it's just the way, it's just the way it is. How many times do we hear that? It's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what age you live to.
Yes.
When we do healing, we know how beautiful that feels, how it lifts us, how it makes us feel tangibly happier, more joyous,
lighter,
and lighter. I was going to say
free.
Lighter. And free, yeah. So it doesn't matter to me what age you are. It's about, have you, you know, has it got to you enough that you do something about it? But I think one of the biggest things is one, people don't believe that they can let it go because, oh, my mum was like that, my dad was like that. It's an ancestral trail.
It's their gene. Yes.
It's their gene, and they can change.
Yes.
But also, it's about people being scared of change. Now, they've lived with it for so long, that has become their identity.
Yes.
So even when I'm doing work with clients and we're releasing things and letting them go, and it feels amazing to do that, we also work on the fear of who will I become? Yes. Not always, but often that can be there.
Oh, yeah.
They're so used to, this is who I am.
Identity changes. Yeah, fear of that. Yes, so true.
So letting that go. And of course, in life, we have curves in the road, and we don't know what those curves are going to be. And some people are just feel safer where they're at.
Yes.
And they feel that if I let that go and I become or feel different to what I do now, will I leave my partner? Will I change? Will I lose my friends? You know, will I change in such a way that people are not going to be able to identify with me anymore? When actually,
big fear. Yes.
It's the big fear, when actually this all can be resolved.
Yes, yes. And adding another point, like they just feel this identity when they come out, and they want to actually hold on to it because these patterns are actually unconsciously still serving them, protecting them. When they come out, it's definitely don't feel safe for them. So that's actually the biggest one. When I also work with people, this is the final step. Hey, we release, shift, and clear the stuck energies. Now what? We are ready to step out, move forward, right? It still doesn't happen because that's the final piece of the resistance, fear of the changes, and the old stuff still protects and, you know, helps, serves. So all these reasons. We might miss something, but these are the major reasons that, you know, why we cannot. And also, of course, some people, they really feel the pains. And they said, I'm done, enough is enough, you know, I just have to live with it. It's also because they haven't found the ways yet. If they
Yeah.
could have any way, find the solutions, they would jump in again to do this, right? So the internal conflict last time we talked about, it's there still. So conclude this point is really, yeah, people don't change for good reasons, but we do have the ways. We do have the tools, and both you and me and many of our co-workers out there, we went through our transformations and come out. When I was in those years, I had this strong voice in my mind that I am going to come out. I will be the example because I know how it feels, and I will go out to show the way to help others. I just know we will. So here we are. We both experienced that and came out to do this. So pretty much, you know, these are the basic concepts we talk about around the patterns that got us stuck. So in our next video series, we will talk a bit more about, you know, how to deal with some of the tips, the tools, steps to help us, right? Timing is always goes so fast. So if you don't have anything else, Ross, so I think, you know, we just call this the day for today.
Yes, for sure. I just want to say to people that if you're watching and listening to this now and you've got those patterns running, you know, and you do feel that you've had enough of it, and, you know, that there definitely, as we've said all throughout this, is that you can change. You
Yes.
can, you know, make those tangible changes.
Yes.
And it's so rewarding. I
Yes.
always decided years ago that I just wanted to be the best version of me.
Yes.
Because while I was not that there was anything wrong with me, but if I'm more content,
Yes.
happier,
Yes.
and that I feel congruent with where I'm at and feel aligned,
yes.
then the better I am with people around me too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's not just about, for me, it is, but it's also about what I can give off and what I radiate and my vibration to other people.
Yes.
And this is what happens when we start to heal.
Oh,
yes.
Yes.
A change and a shift.
Yes.
And I know we're going to talk about this more on the next series.
Totally. Yeah, we both agree. We talk about that, and I want to emphasize here, the pains from our patterns are not our enemies or obstacles. They are our helpers. They are our soul's voices to tell us these are the lessons we come here to learn and finally graduate and to live a life with satisfaction and fulfillment. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Let us know if you have questions, and you can find us. We will put our information there. Join us for our group or whatever supporting, you know, Zoom supporting team. So we will see you next time. Thank you again. Thank you, Ross.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.